So, hello and welcome to episode 2 of Less Stress and More Success. So, if you're listening or watching either live or on replay, share with me in the comments what success do you most want right now? Share with me in the comments. It can be anything. What is the success that you're looking for right now? And if you're listening on podcast, then head on over to my website, theresereichenberg.com/2 to comment on the podcast page. But let me know, what is the success that you most want right now? And in this episode, I'm going to be chatting about the secret of success. And what I'm about to share with you is probably not what you're thinking. For many of us, we've been taught that success has to do with discipline and you have to be seriously organized and productive, and you need to be dynamic and confident. And maybe we've been told that we have to work hard. Or a lot of people say, that in order to be successful, you have to have lots of resources and lots of money and support from other people and lots of time available. And yes, to an extent, those things do come into play, but there's something that's underlying all of those. And if you're able to focus on just this one thing that I'm about to share with you, then discipline and confidence and productivity and hard work and money and support and time, etc., all of those things will be easy and a natural byproduct. So, the secret of success has everything to do with feelings. Yes, feelings. How often do you take notice of your feelings? How often do you think about using your feelings for your success? For a very long time, I never considered feelings at all. In fact, I used to try and avoid them altogether. I used to think that feelings were fluffy and inconsequential and woo woo and all of those things. And quite frankly, I just didn't want feelings to get in the way of my success at all. So I would ignore them altogether. I would resist them and avoid them, and also try and fix negative feelings. Whenever I never felt good, I would try and fix it as quickly as possible. So, if you're like I was, and probably like most people, maybe you haven't considered feelings in the equation of success. And here's why feelings are important and the key to our success in life. There's actually two reasons for this. The first reason is because everything you want in your life, the success you want, the goals you want to achieve, the money you want to have, maybe you want fame, or maybe you just want a nice car. Like a Tesla would be great, thank you. Maybe it's travel that you want in your life, more travel, more time to travel, more time with your family. Whatever it is that you want to be, do, and have in your life is because of a feeling you believe it will generate for you. Everything we want in our lives is because of a feeling. So we think that those feelings or those things will bring us the feelings we want. We think that those things are going to bring us happiness and bring us feeling good. We anticipate that it's going to make us feel good about ourselves. We think that travel is going to make us feel freedom. And maybe we believe that, becoming the CEO or having a very successful business or becoming a doctor or a lawyer is going to make you feel more in control of your life or proud of yourself. And maybe it'll make you feel more powerful and motivated, etc. Everything we want for ourselves, all of that success we want for ourselves, is just because of that feeling we want to feel. And when I realized this for the first time, it was like mind blown. So, the first step on your journey to success is to ask yourself, what do I most desire to achieve, firstly? And then ask, what do I believe it will make me feel? What is that feeling that I want to get from it? How do I want to feel when I've achieved that goal for myself? So let's just say your desire right now is to run a marathon. And the core feeling that it will bring you is maybe energized. You want to be able to run this marathon because you want to feel more energized in your life. And very often, when we're going after a goal, there might be a number of feelings that you want to feel from it. But for simplicity, we're just going to focus on one in this instance. So the funny thing about this is, in order to train for your marathon, so you want to feel the feeling you want is energized, right? And in order to train for your marathon, in order to get up early and run every day, in order to make sure that you're eating well and taking time to do great stretching, etc., all of the things that you need to do to run that marathon, you will also need to feel energized. You're going to need to feel that feeling to do the work to train for the marathon. So actually, the attainment of your goal is just practicing the feeling you want to get from the attainment of your goal. Let me say that in a slightly different way. In order to achieve your goal, you need to practice the feeling you want to get from the achievement of your goal. That's all it is. Just practice that feeling that you want to get. Let me give you another example. So let's say you want to do a TED Talk because it will make you feel proud of yourself. What you need to be practicing every day to prepare for that talk is pride in yourself, pride in your skills and capabilities, pride to sell yourself in order to get chosen, and then pride in yourself to present your talk confidently to an audience of lots of people. If we can get better at practicing and deliberately generating the feelings we want to have through the achievement of our goal, we can then achieve our goal much faster. It's actually just about practicing those feelings over and over and over again, daily, until you achieve that goal for yourself. So, the second reason why feelings are so important for success that we want in our lives is because everything we look to avoid happening in our lives is also a feeling. So, feelings like failure and rejection and stress and shame and pain and overwhelm and worry and discomfort, all of those are the feelings we don't want in our lives. We try and avoid those things, but they're just feelings. And yet, in order to experience the success we want, we have to be willing to feel those feelings too. And for most people, creating success requires you to do things that you've never done before. And when we've never done something before, we open ourselves up to feelings of failure and all of those other things I've mentioned, discomfort and rejection, what we sometimes call negative feelings. And actually, I prefer to call some of those negative feelings growth feelings because they remind me that these feelings and emotions are normal. This is just part of my growth process, my journey to success. Now, there's something else to consider. The worst thing that can possibly happen in your life, on your road to success, on your road to achieving your goal, is actually just a feeling. For instance, let's think about doing that TED Talk to hundreds of people. And maybe at the end, the audience ends up booing you off the stage. And that's a pretty worst case scenario, and it's most likely won't happen at all. But the worst thing about even that scenario is probably the shame and embarrassment that you'll feel afterwards. That's it. That is the worst thing, a feeling. Shame, embarrassment, bruised ego, rejection, all just feelings. Just a feeling in the body. If you think about it, it's just like maybe for you, like a hollow sensation in your tummy, or maybe it's like a lump in your throat. That's all. That's the worst thing that can happen ever. So then you can ask yourself, are you willing to feel those uncomfortable growth feelings? And when I say willing to feel them, I mean Not trying to avoid them and cover them up, but rather to just notice them and then label them. Say, okay, this is disappointment. It's a growth feeling. It's okay. I can handle this. And also, we don't want to try and make them go away. For instance, very often we try when we're feeling these growth feelings, we look for comforts to make us feel better. Very temporary comforts, like, and we because we want to try and make ourselves feel better quickly, like watching too much Netflix, or eating sugary foods, or drinking alcohol, scrolling social media. Those are very quick fixes to try and make us feel good in that moment. But let's go back quickly to our TEDx goal example, the goal where you want to feel pride in yourself. And before you even get on stage, what you have to do is you have to pitch your talk to the TEDx Foundation, and then they come back to you. And let's just pretend that in this situation, maybe you get a rejection letter. And in that moment, you may feel rejected. And our brain's normal reaction would be to try and make that feeling go away. We start to look for the comforts, all of those comforts, and to literally comfort ourselves out of that feeling. And so we might stop working on our talk. We might stop working on our goal altogether, and maybe even stop working on other goals and opportunities because we don't want to feel that rejection anymore. And maybe we can also look for other ways to comfort ourselves temporarily in that moment. So, like I said, eating good food and drinking alcohol, having too much wine, um, scrolling through social media, asking people to tell us that they love us and tell us that we're okay and try and make us feel good in that moment. Literally to drown our sorrows, so to speak. But by covering up that feeling of rejection, you are essentially covering up any opportunity to feel pride in yourself. And that was the whole purpose, right? That was the purpose of the goal, was to feel pride. And by stopping going after your goals, or eating sugary foods, or spending too much time on Netflix, or drinking too much alcohol, for most people, that's not going to add to the pride we want in ourselves. But by allowing ourselves to feel rejection, owning it, knowing you can feel it, and move forward anyway, that's what will generate even more pride in yourself. Now, far be it from me to take away some of your comforts. I know that, you're going to say, well, I like to have a glass of wine every day, or I like to enjoy a sweet treat every now and again. Absolutely fine. But I'd like you to notice if you're using these things to cover up a growth feeling. And in that moment, to rather just let yourself feel it. Because if you can get better at feeling growth feelings, then nothing stands in your way of success. Because remember, everything, the worst thing that can ever happen is just a feeling. And you'd be willing to do and feel anything if you knew that success was inevitable. And it is if you are willing to do and feel anything. In fact, this means that we can also start intentionally practicing these growth feelings too. I want you to think about going to the gym. We willingly go to the gym knowing that for a time we're going to feel out of breath or physically in pain. And we do this because we know it's going to help our muscles, and we're going to grow our fitness and get better and feel better about ourselves. And it does do that. And experiencing this temporary pain actually does get easier too after a while. So, in the same way, we can intentionally practice feeling failure, or feeling deprivation, or feeling rejection or embarrassment just by taking more risks, by showing up, by going after your goals, by doing the things that are going to push you out of your comfort zone. Are you willing to feel those feelings? The thing about feelings that I want to mention is that we also don't need to react from them. We're able to just feel them without allowing them to show up. For instance, we all think that when we feel rejection, as an example, We need to just close ourselves off from the world and not speak to anybody. And for some people, when they feel rejected, maybe they start to complain about the people who rejected them. And yet, this isn't true. We don't need to do this. We don't need to react from that feeling. We can just feel it without showcasing it. We can just observe it and label it to ourselves and then be okay. It's in the same way that when we're going to gym and we're in pain, right? Our muscles are aching or like they're screaming at us from doing 100 squats in a row or something crazy. You don't then just throw yourself on the floor screaming with pain. You just breathe into it and you mentally speak to yourself and go, this is okay. I've got this. You breathe into it and you get through it. You say, I can do this. I can just do one more squat, maybe. So in the same way, we can just breathe into our growth feelings. We can identify them and breathe into them and speak to ourselves through them in a compassionate and non-judgmental way, because those are growth feelings. And if we can intentionally practice those growth feelings, like failure, rejection, deprivation, shame, sadness, disappointment, discomfort, in the context of our goal, then we can get to success much faster and also with a lot less struggle, because essentially what we're struggling with is the feeling. But if we're intentionally allowing ourselves to feel that way, there's no more struggle. There's no more need to struggle. So there we are. If we look at those two secrets of success, the first one is that success is just a feeling. And that number two, the worst thing that can happen is also just a feeling. Then all we need to do is start practicing feelings, both the positive and the growth feelings. If we can practice those intentionally, get better at generating those feelings and feeling those feelings, and then success is yours. And the great thing about this process of practicing feelings is that it will feel like success right now. You won't need to wait for the achievement of your goal. It'll feel successful. You'll feel in control. You'll feel like success is inevitable because you're able to do this very, very simple skill. Okay, so I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. Pop it in the comments or send me a mail at hello@theresereichenberg.com. And if you need more help with success, productivity, mindset, going after your goals for yourself or for your team, then all you need to do is reach out to me via email. That's hello@theresereichenberg.com. And you can also visit my website, theresereichenberg.com, to request a free 30-minute mini strategy session if you want less stress and more success in your business and for your life. And I will see you again next week. Bye for now.